One is a lump sum of money up front, which is like a loan against your advances that you don't have to pay off if you don't earn it all back. But having that money is very appealing because most of us are starving artists. The second is to appeal to our egos, to have someone who knows books and rejects a lot of people accept us. And I'm as vulnerable to that as anybody else. I'm sensitive to whether or not my wife likes my books. You know, I want to be accepted. The third is the potential to see your book in a bookstore, which, as growing up readers and seeing books in bookstores and loving them, we want that. Those barriers are going to fall out as the financial equation becomes so lopsided that we see more and more people earning a living self-publishing and hearing more and more from people who are traditionally published who have a day job because they can't earn a living, because the difference in payment is that vast. And you get paid twice a year with a traditional publisher, you get paid monthly self-publishing. So publishers are going to have to change their contracts in order to lure in talent, and I think this problem is going to be exacerbated in the future. 10 years from now, you're going to have more and more people, and I meet them every day. I met some right before this talk who, in the last 2 years, this is someone in a master's creative writing program that sold 20,000 ebooks in 2 years, and they were bashful about it because it didn't seem like very much to them. That's more than most traditionally published authors will sell in their lifetime. And they're in an MFA program where their fellow students are still looking down on self-publishing. These people will spend more time trying to land their first agent than this person has spent learning the business, getting their works out there, and earning 40,000 pounds in the process. So that's the attitude I had early on. I didn't care if my goal is to sell 5,000 books in my lifetime. That was my goal starting off as a writer, because I don't know 5,000 people. And I thought the ultimate test was to sell a book to someone other than my mom and my mom's friends. And my mom doesn't have 5,000 friends, so this was my benchmark. Having that low aspiration, as I was publishing books, I didn't worry what that first book did. You know, I finished that book and I started writing the second one. And my goal was to write for 10 years before I cared if anybody found my first book. And this is the biggest issue I think facing writers today, and I think it's the reason the hybrid approach is important. You can start your career self-publishing and end up wherever you want to, but do you want to spend your time sending your manuscript out to agents and hoping to impress one person who, let me tell you how that works. They've got a stack of manuscripts like this, and they're not even the ones seeing it. Their interns are seeing it. They're reading through them. If you misspell the agent's name, if you don't format it properly, if you give them any excuse to set it aside, they are so happy with you because you just gave them permission to winnow your wonderful book out. And to me, that process seems a lot more difficult than putting your story out and hoping that your one first cousin who read it and actually liked it, if it's a good book, told 2 other people about it, and then it spreads from there while you're publishing more books. This to me seems like a more, let me give you an example with music. No one tries to make it in music by recording an album, never letting anyone hear them play, or anyone listen to their album, and then you go around to music studios and you play them your demo, and no one's ever heard it or given you feedback. You're just thinking, well, this is great. I think it's great. I hope someone pays me $1 million for it. No, artists don't work that way. Painters don't work that way. Photographers don't work that way. The hybrid model allows you to feel out your market, to get your work out there, and if you want to be with a publisher, let them come to you. You know, I know this sounds crazy. Well, it sounded crazy when I said it 3 years ago, but we should be hiring...
It's not crazy at all.
We should be hiring agents. They work for us, not begging the first person who will have us and just going with them and then finding out they're not very good at their job, which is why they had an open space available anyway, because there are the last 5 people left. And I posted this on a forum 3 years ago that in the future, we'll get our works out there, we'll appeal directly to readers, and once we have a big enough readership, agents will come to us and interview us for the job. And everyone said I was absolutely crazy. Within 6 months, this was happening to me. Agents were calling me and saying, I want 15% of what you're making. And I said, no thanks, and hung up on them. I wrote them form rejection letters. I'm serious, but I finally heard from an agent who made a lot of sense and talked sense into me because I was wrong. I did need an agent. I just needed the right one. And I was able to find them by concentrating on the reader. that's what, to me, what the hybrid model is about. It's also about people with backlists. There's probably people in the audience who've been with traditional publishers that publish books. They didn't have success. They've gotten their rights back. What do I do with them? Make them available and write your next book.
Also, I think